Hey guys, welcome to the video. My name is Oliver King and this channel is all about how to make money from your art. So it's a discussion on how to make money with things like videography, photography, and graphic design. And this week I just wanted to touch on some of the sales I made in the last month. So it's just a recap of February sales so that you can take some of the ideas that I've had success with and hopefully apply them to your own portfolio. February was a really good month for me. Overall, I have started selling basically consistently every single day, which is amazing for me. That was one of my goals to achieve, so I'm happy that I was able to get to that level. So hopefully these tips will help you get to that point or exceed that yourself. So let's jump into the computer now, take a look at what was selling, and then at the end of the video, I'm also just going to talk about some of the other projects that I've got going on as well, just in case you're curious about beginner ways to make money with your camera equipment. So let's jump into the computer and get straight to it. All right, so one of the first ones that I've been selling more frequently is just vector art that is linear like this. So this is just basically vector art that I've designed with strokes. And so you can do this in Adobe Illustrator. And I do have a tutorial up on this if you're curious about how to create stuff like this. It seems daunting at first and it seems very time consuming, but once you get the knack of it, it's pretty quick if you know how to manipulate shapes. So that's a good little one to think about and focus on. This is one that sold a couple times this month, and this is just of the Devonian Gardens in Calgary. And this is just a famous garden spot inside Calgary, which is the city I live in. And so it's just a good reminder that if you have any places in your city that you don't regularly visit that are kind of tourist spots, go and hit them up on a time where it's not very busy and you can get some really beautiful indoor shots or just shots of local landmarks. I think this is particularly true of places that aren't very well traveled. Calgary isn't really on the map for too much besides the Stampede and for going out to Banff and the Rocky Mountains. So I think it's underrepresented. So I think it's a good place to live for photography like this. As always, CBD oil continues to sell, and I've made quite a few like this. And so these ones are the ones that sell the most for me. I think they represent at least 30% of my income right now with stock photography. So take advantage, get some olive oil, which is what this is, and get some background leaves or plants. You don't actually need CBD oil to represent the idea of it. This is something that's good to consider for any other emerging industries that you want to represent. You don't necessarily need the actual thing because CBD oil I think is quite a bit lighter in color. So yeah, represent it with the materials that you have on hand and look around your house so that you don't have to spend money on the things that you're using as props to create your photography. This is one that has sold a few times and it's actually somewhat surprising to me. I think I brought this one up before, but we might as well discuss it. This is just manipulating the colors of a dark city that I took using a tripod. And the reason that this one has probably sold more frequently is that I've manipulated the hue and saturation of my colors. I've used the HSL secondary in Lightroom a little bit just to manipulate the shades that I'm working with to give it kind of this creepy sort of brooding look. And I think it has a little bit of personality and good framing because I've used the bridge to kind of line up my shot. So yeah, I think this one has sold at least between 5 and 10 times now, which is somewhat of a surprise to me. But you know, if you live near a city, go out at dark, grab some cool city shots, and make sure you keep your ISO low. And just yeah, I think this is a good way to think about your color scheme and manipulating that so that your color scheme matches the concept that you're working with your photo. Editorial is always a big seller because these shots of these bikes, these are becoming more popular, I think, in every city. And so in the city that I live in, these are the electric bikes that are available for rentals. So I think because everything is going green and people are more interested in this, I think more and more photos like this are going to sell with the concept of green energy or alternative transportation methods. This is the photo that's actually made me the most money so far. That little dachshund of mine is quite good for paying me back. So I've sold a couple photos that were worth a lot more than 25 cents recently, and this was one of the ones that was worth more because of the licensing thing that people purchase with it. So there's different licenses that people can buy on Shutterstock, but this one was a more expensive one, I guess. And so this one paid me back quite well, and this one has sold multiple times as well. So if you have a pet, make use of that. And then we just have curtains that diffuse the light nicely in our living room. So this one was really great because we have kind of the nice wool here that caught the light. And then yeah, the soft light in the morning is always just great for kind of lighting your scenes, and you don't have to spend money on lighting setups either. And again, I've mentioned this one before, but I think it's hilarious, and I just want to at least acknowledge that the window I broke with a weed whipper is paying me back very slowly, 1/4 at a time. So if you break something, take a picture of what you broke, and maybe it will pay you back as you move along. Again, another simple one for representing CBD oil. This one I just put in there. Again, it's just a simple eyedropper, and in the background you have a little house plant that I have. I do not have oodles of marijuana growing around my house, so I'm making use of the bokeh that I have in an f1.8 lens and just blurring it out in the background. If you do not have a lens capable of doing this, there's a lot of apps available that will allow you to blur your background just digitally instead of doing it with a lens. So get creative with your smartphones. You can still create stuff that looks or resembles this. And yeah, just get creative with your shots and make use of the lenses that you do have. This one makes me very happy that it actually sold, because this is one that I threw together in my garage when I was first starting out with stock photography. Some of the old ones that I have sold, they do sell from time to time. And this is, I think, the third photo that I put up on Shutterstock, so it finally sold this past week, which was very exciting. But yeah, just bearing in mind that you can always just throw anything together in a scene, really. These are just dirty old boots in a garage, and I just have a poster board that I used as a backdrop here and a piece of old palette, so I just use that to kind of mask off part of my garage. But I think this is just something that people have a use for. So, you know, you never know what's going to sell, so just keep putting stuff together, keep putting it out there. Always conceptual stuff regarding issues like marijuana and any sort of contentious issue. You know, we have the election coming up for America. I'm Canadian, so I'm not super into that, but you might want to think about representing ideas that are hot topic issues and that people could pull from to use as little titles for whatever web pages they have. So that might be a good thing to consider, but hot topics like legalization are always a factor, and so you never know. You never know what can sell, but yeah, hot topic issues are always something worth representing. So those are some of the things that have been selling for me recently, and they've been selling very consistently. And what I need to get better at personally is I just need to get better at uploading frequently. Recently, I've taken on a couple contracts more professionally with my photography, and I'm getting my photography business licensed, and we're incorporating and doing all of this paperwork stuff. So we actually got a couple really good contracts, including one at the company that I'm currently working at, and we're taking over the social media and the videography for that company. So this is kind of a good step in the right direction for me professionally. And so what I would advise people to do if they're looking to kind of break out and branch into stuff that's a little bit more lucrative with their cameras is to start talking to the companies they already work at and see if they need representation on social media. It's a good way that's kind of safe to break into it, because you already work at the company, you can benefit them more by being there, and you can actually kind of engage with the things you're genuinely interested in as well. I think this is a really good idea for people who are looking to get more creative or looking to do something more fun at the job that they're working at, because a lot of people find their jobs monotonous, but that doesn't mean that you're completely limited to doing the same thing every day. If you bring it to your company heads that you are passionate about photography and videography, there's a huge market for this, there's a huge utility for social media and just getting content out there. So maybe it's up to you to advocate for yourself and then go and represent your company in a very positive way and try and get them more business, and then also to kind of work on your skill set as well. Another thing that's been working out really well for me lately is just saying that I'll do free shoots, and then lots of the people I've done free shoots for have been contacting me back to do more and more shoots with them. So last night I got to go and shoot a birthday party that was a paid gig, and then right before that I was shooting a big dance event, and for that one I did that one for free just because there's more options to meet people, to network, to talk to people, to showcase the level of my photography. And even though I shoot with somewhat of a lower quality camera in the A6000, it's not a full frame sensor, I was able to at least push my photography to the limit of where it would go. And so, you know, I'm thinking about buying a full frame camera soon so that I can shoot events, ceremonies that are dark and indoors and that type of thing. And so I'm just trying to push my equipment to the limit of where it's going to go and just kind of test out the framework of what I'm trying to build as a business. It's been really fun to try stuff like that at free shoots, because you can't always get away with that if you're doing professional stuff. What I would say you should try and do is to shoot stuff for free, and while you're shooting things for free, test out your equipment or new pieces of lighting or whatever you're working with, and then when you're doing the professional stuff, you can show up fully prepared because you've already practiced and you've already done the legwork. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that stuff was useful to you. I always love doing this stock photography thing. It's just fun because it just constantly reaffirms that you have commercially viable stuff that you're creating. So I really like the little hits of dopamine that it gives me throughout the week. And then it's also helped me to start cultivating a skill set towards pursuing a professional career in photography. So this has been very useful to me, and I hope it's useful to you as well. And that being said, have a great week, keep shooting, keep uploading, and we'll get you in the next video.